So welcome to Jumbo IS and welcome to our lecture series called Daily News in Shorts. In this lecture series, we cover a particular day's current affairs in a short span of time within 30 minutes so that you are quickly done with your current affairs preparation in one day. And you have enough time left for your other parts of UPSC syllabus. Now, I know what you guys must be thinking. You guys must be thinking, what about January 1st? What about the current affairs of that day? The thing is that January 1st, 2025, I should correct here. Well, it was New Year, as you all know. So the newspaper was full of non-UPSC specific news items. So it was not that important from the perspective of UPSC preparation. And that is why we have chosen to ignore January 1st. And we are straight away jumping to the 2nd. Okay. So today we are going to be covering January 2nd's current affairs. And the important topics that featured in today's newspaper are as following. So here's the list of the topics. Number 1, extension of special subsidy on DAP. DAP is a fertilizer, diammonium phosphate. Now, the reason for extending special subsidy on DAP is because DAP is becoming expensive, because most of the DAP is imported and imports have become expensive. That is why government wants to make this fertilizer affordable for farmers, because this fertilizer is very important for farmers. So we'll talk about this issue. Then another news related to agriculture. Ministry of Agriculture has launched Fund for Innovation and Technology. This fund would finance technological innovation in the field of agriculture. So we'll talk about this. Then recently, Ministry of Commerce announced that they are going to upgrade India's food testing infrastructure so that India's food items, packaged food items, are tested appropriately, they meet the adequate standards, and if they meet the adequate standards, India's exports of food items would get increased. So we'll talk about this. And in the end, again, an agriculture related news. Government made some announcements regarding crop insurance scheme, especially weather-based crop insurance scheme. So we'll talk about this scheme as well. All right. So these are the 4 items that we'll zero in our attention on. Please give me your 100%. Please give me your 100% focus, and we'll begin this lecture. So let's start our discussion for today, starting with topic number 1, which is extension of special subsidy on DAP. Now listen, DAP stands for diammonium phosphate. Now, it is a compound fertilizer. This fertilizer is responsible for providing your soil with nitrogen and phosphorus, which are very important for crop growth. The thing is that diammonium phosphate, DAP, is the second most consumed fertilizer in India after urea. Urea is the most consumed fertilizer, which provides nitrogen. DAP is the second most consumed fertilizer. All right. The problem with DAP is that most of it is imported. Okay, most of DAP is imported. Now, DAP is used by farmers all over the country, especially for Kharif and Rabi crops both. The problem is that because DAP is imported, rupee dollar exchange rate is very important for the import bill of DAP. Currently, rupee has reached a historic low. It has reached around 85 rupees per dollar, right? And whenever rupee depreciates, imports become expensive. Okay, so let's suppose the price of one bag of DAP is $1. Earlier, you had to pay 82 rupees for that. Now you'll have to pay 85 rupees for that. So imports become expensive whenever rupee depreciates. Now, India's rupee has been depreciating against dollar for quite some time now, and because of that, imports of DAP have become expensive. Now, the government does not want DAP to be expensive for farmers because that would raise the cost for farmers and it would impact their incomes, it would make them unhappy. Plus, it might also persuade grow less crops, which would definitely lead to decline in yield. So crop production would also get reduced, and because of that, food supply would get reduced. So government does not want DAP to be expensive, and that is why they have decided to extend a special subsidy of rupees 3,500 per ton on DAP for one more year. this special subsidy package was set to expire on December 31st, 2024, but the government has recently announced that they are extending this special subsidy package for one more year. Again, the context is that DAP is becoming expensive because rising import bill, and import bill is rising because of depreciation of rupee. Okay, one more thing government has done. Look, what happens is that DAP is sold to farmers at a fixed rate called MRP, right? So it is sold to farmers at MRP. Now, government has this habit of controlling MRP. Now, the shopkeepers who are selling DAP would say that if you are controlling MRP, if you're not allowing us to raise MRP, that would lead to losses for us because imports are becoming expensive, but you're not allowing us to sell this DAP to farmers at a higher MRP. So government says that we will provide you with a subsidy, okay, so that your losses also get covered. Make sense? So this is how this happens. Fertilizers are controlled, okay, their prices are controlled. Now let's talk a bit more about DAP pricing in India. How is the pricing of DAP decided in India? So as I've mentioned before, DAP is imported. So currently the cost of DAP in international market is $632 per ton, which as per the current exchange rate amounts to 54,160 rupees per ton. It used to be 52,000 when rupee was not that low. Okay, rupee was 82 rupees per dollar. But now that rupee has depreciated by 3 rupees in 1 year, the this price of DAP in India in rupees has increased. So international price is 632 per dollar. Now the thing is, so for an importer to sell 1 ton of DAP, he has to first buy DAP, import DAP at this price. Okay. Now, the thing is that fertilizer companies are being given a subsidy of 21,911 per ton by the government. Plus, they're also given a special subsidy of 3,500 rupees. So 21,911 plus 3,500 is the total subsidy given by Government of India. Okay. Thing is that uh, the government also says that you cannot sell DAP at a price more than 1350 per bag or 27,000 per ton. So the thing is that farmers can sell DAP at 27,000 per ton. Okay, they will get around 24,000 something of subsidy from government. That amounts to 52,411. Okay, so farmers are going to earn sellers of DAP are going to earn a revenue of this much. But the sellers are saying that for us to import DAP, we are spending this much. So we are spending 54,160, but we are earning 52,411. We are running a net loss. So they are saying to the government that either allow us to increase MRP or give us more subsidy, because otherwise we won't be able to sell to the farmers because it is not a profit making venture for us. It is a loss making venture for us. Now, if this continues, then these suppliers won't supply DAP to farmers because it's a loss making thing for them, and farmers won't get DAP on time, and well, the crops would suffer. You understood the whole picture. It takes around 54,160 rupees to import 1 ton. Okay, then they get around 24,000 from the government as subsidy. They sell it for 27,000. They make 52,411. But their cost price was this much, their selling price is this much, they are not earning enough money. This is the problem that the sellers of DAP are currently facing. Now, what is the problem? Because of this thing, imports have become unviable for importers or sellers, so they would stop imports if the government does not increase the subsidy or the government does not allow them to increase MRP. Okay. Plus, there is one more thing. You see, on paper, government is not allowed to control the MRP of non-urea fertilizers. So in case of urea, government has fixed the price of MRP. Government has fixed MRP. Okay. So statutorily, on paper, government can fix MRP for urea. But on paper, it cannot fix the price of non-urea fertilizers like DAP, potash, and whatnot. On paper. But by telling the suppliers to not sell DAP beyond this much, government is in a way informally controlling the price. Though on paper they are not allowed to do so, but they are doing it informally. So this is a problem. Imports have become unviable. Informal price control is happening. But the only saving grace in this situation is that all the DAP that had to be used by farmers have been used already. Okay. Farmers are currently in the Rabi season and they have used DAP till December, whatever they had to use. So now, if government changes the price, the effect of that price change would pass on to farmers in Kharif season. So there is still time for government to increase MRP or give more subsidy to suppliers. Okay, so the impact would happen on next Kharif season because the current consumption season is already over for Rabi. So let's see what the government does. All right. Okay. Now let's move on to our next news item, which is Fund for Innovation and Technology, FIAT. So the Union Cabinet has approved a Fund for Innovation and Technology with a corpus of 800 to 24.77 crore. So this much money has been sent to this fund. Now, what will this fund do? The money in this fund will be utilized towards funding tech initiatives under various schemes of the government that cater to the field of agriculture. So there are many schemes that bring in technological innovation in the field of agriculture. This fund would finance those schemes. Some of the examples of those schemes are YesTech, WINDS, and many other research development studies. Okay, so this fund is created to finance tech related initiatives in the field of agriculture because the coming technology, the new technology, can really boost the productivity of agriculture. Now, the question is, what is YesTech? What is WINDS? So let's talk about that. So YesTech stands for Yield Estimation System Using Technology. YesTech. It uses remote sensing technology, satellite data, basically satellite remote sensing technology to estimate the yield of a crop in a particular field. Okay, so this is again satellite technology being used in the field of agriculture. Now this technology to estimate the yield of a crop is very important for estimating insurance claims, for estimating the overall yield of a particular crop. This is very important and government is using technology for that, satellite based technology for that. Okay, so this technology has some problems right now. So those problems need solutions and those solutions are going to cost some money. So this FIAT is going to provide that money for YesTech scheme. Then there is WIND scheme, Weather Information and Network Data Systems. This is a tech initiative to provide hyper-local weather data to farmers in time so that farmers are aware of different weather patterns for their crops way early. Okay, this is for farmers. So basically under this scheme, what happens is that the government would be setting up automatic weather stations at block level and automatic rain gauges at panchayat level. These instruments are going to provide real-time data of hyperlocal weather. Okay, hyperlocal weather means at a very narrow geographical area, very small geographical area, because weather data for a particular state has a lot of variations within cities, villages, right? So we need village level weather data for farmers. So this wind scheme is going to provide to farmers weather data, and for growing crops you need weather data, right? Both these schemes are examples of how tech applications can make farmers' lives easy. Okay, so this FIAT scheme is again government's initiative to finance tech initiative like YesTech, WINDS for helping farmers. All right. Now let's move on to our third news item, which is food testing infrastructure. Okay. You see, before getting into the news part of this title, I'll explain to you what happens when India exports food. Okay. India exports a lot of food items, packaged food items, food crops, many things. Now, there are different countries to which these food items are exported. Now, most of these countries have some food quality standards. They will not import from India if these standards are not met. Food should be of high quality. Food should be cared with proper hygiene and whatnot. So these are the different quality standards. Now, every exporter needs to get certification from Export Inspection Council before exporting this, because these countries have said that we need a certified proof, we need certification that this food item that we are importing is of high quality. And that is why exporters have to get these items certified. Okay. Now, for that, you need different labs which would test these food items and give them certification, right? Labs, instruments, high-tech microscopes and whatnot. All of these instruments, all of these labs are part of food testing infrastructure. Now, many countries have actually complained that Indian food items are not of high quality standards, and the reason for that is that most of the food items are not able to get themselves properly certified, because of lack of availability of proper labs in the country, right? That is why Commerce Ministry has decided that boost exports of food items, we need to upgrade our testing infrastructure. And Export Inspection Council, which comes under Commerce Ministry, would be the nodal agency to improve food testing infrastructure so that Indian exports are readily accepted in different countries. Okay. So the Export Inspection Council under the ministry has initiated a detailed gap assessment study on food testing infrastructure for exports. So what are the gaps? They are going to study that. EIC is also set to launch an integrated traceability module to streamline and manage processes involved in inspection, testing, and certification. So first, inspection happens at these exporters' godowns, then testing happens, and then their food items are certified so that they could be exported. Okay. Now, the question that arises in everybody's mind is, what is Export Inspection Council? So let's talk about EIC. So it is the official export certification body which ensures quality and safety of products exported from India. Okay. All items that need quality certification are certified by EIC for export. No one can export anything without EIC's certification. Now, EIC was established under Section 3 of Export Quality Control and Inspection Act. Their role is to ensure that products notified under this act are meeting the requirements of importing countries, because different countries have different requirements for getting these food items. So all these requirements are being met so that Indian exporters can sell to these countries in respect of their quality and safety. All right. Now, what is the value of the certificate or certification provided by EIC? Do countries value their certification? Because a country might say that EIC is not a very good body, not a very renowned body, it's corrupt, and therefore their certification doesn't matter. Some countries might say that, but that is not the case. EIC's certification is very well valued all over the world. EIC's certification system is recognized by major international regulatory bodies in European Union, USA, Australia, Turkey, Korea, Japan, and among others. In fact, EIC participates in international certification bodies also, like Codex Alimentarius, ISO, WTO, so that it upgrades its methodology of providing certificates. EIC has also entered into mutual recognition agreements and MOUs with different countries to understand these countries' requirements. Okay, because if EIC knows their requirements of food quality, then only they would be able to implement that on our exporters in India. Okay, so this is the global standing of EIC. All right. And now we move on to our last news item, which is weather-based crop insurance scheme. Now, why was this crop insurance scheme in the news? Well, because recently Union Cabinet approved continuation of existing insurance schemes for agriculture, which is Pradhan Mantri Fasal Bima Yojana restructure weather-based crop insurance scheme until 2025-26. So their term has been extended. Now, about Pradhan Mantri Fasal Bima Yojana, well, it was launched in 2016 and it replaced the previous insurance schemes called National Agriculture Insurance Scheme and Modified National Agricultural Insurance Scheme. So the earlier insurance schemes were replaced by Fasal Bima Yojana. This crop insurance scheme has uniform premium of 1.5% for Rabi crops, 2% for Kharif and 5% for horticulture crops. So this scheme is quite affordable for farmers. You see, as you know, whenever you get your insurance done, on an annual basis, you have to pay a premium, some amount of money, right? Now, for crop insurance, also farmers have to pay a premium. But earlier, farmers were not getting their crops insured because they thought that premiums were too expensive, right? They thought of these premiums as too expensive, too unaffordable. That's why they didn't get their crops insured. But under Fasal Bima Yojana, government has put a cap on the premiums. Okay, an upper limit has been put on premiums. For Rabi crops, it's 1.5% of the total cost of crop getting insured. 2% for Kharif, 5% for horticulture crops. And the remaining balance would be paid by center and states, central government and state government. Okay, so let's suppose a farmer gets a crop insurance from Bajaj Insurance Company, right? Now that Bajaj Insurance Company says that we are going to charge a premium of 10% on a Kharif crop. So the farmer will pay 2% and the remaining 8% would be paid by government. Through this, insurance becomes affordable for farmers. They get their crops insured, and in case of a natural calamity, they get the benefit, financial benefit or financial claim for their crop loss. Okay, so because of that, because the premiums were made affordable by Fasal Bima Yojana, more and more farmers were getting their crops insured. Okay, so this is Fasal Bima Yojana. About weather-based crop insurance scheme, well, this crop insurance scheme actually protects farmers against crop loss due to adverse weather conditions. Okay, so it is more narrow. Whereas Fasal Bima Yojana protects all sorts of crop loss, WBCIS protects against crop loss only due to bad weather. Okay, so it insures farmers against crop loss due to adverse conditions of weather parameters. What type of crops are covered? Well, almost all types of crops are covered. Food crops like cereals, millets, pulses are covered. Oil seeds are covered. Most of the commercial and horticultural crops are covered. And which types of farmers are eligible for this scheme? Well, all farmers, land farmers, sharecroppers, tenant farmers, okay, growing the notified crops, the crops notified under this scheme are eligible. Okay, so this is all you need to know about WBCIS. And with that, we conclude today's session. Thank you so much for watching, everyone. And I'm sure it has added value to your preparation, but it would add more value if you revise this lecture also, because as I've mentioned this before, revision is very important. In fact, critical if you really want to remember these current affairs for longer periods of time, if you want to consolidate these current affairs in your memory. So do the necessary revision from our notes, and these notes shall be available on our Telegram channel. The link to our Telegram channel is provided in the comment section below. Just click on that link. It will take you to our Telegram channel, and from there you can download the notes for this lecture. On that note, I'll be signing off. Thank you so much, everyone.